All right, good to see everybody. Be a hot one out here. Get some good work in. We're going to bring the tempo down a little bit towards the end of practice, just as part of our plan, and then we'll be in the stadium tomorrow. I'll take any questions you guys got.
Kevin, Troy Hill talked to us today, and he said that you guys ask a lot out of the slide corners in this defense, including like in the run game. Is it? I mean, how has he sort of picked that up?
Yeah, I think Troy's done a nice job. The scheme he played in, there's some similarities. There's some differences. You certainly are part of the run fit. You're in the pressures. You're playing coverage. You're playing man. So he has a well-rounded game in there, and you got to be really smart in there. Like being part of that run fit, you got to think about different formations and how you fit in. So he's done a nice job.
And he seems. I mean, you say you have to be smart in there. He seems like he takes that mental side very, very seriously.
He does. Yeah, you got to spend time with it. There's so many looks that you can get in that space, and then you got to be in coverage. You got to know how to disguise. That's a big part of it. So film study with those nickels is a big deal.
Troy also said that he's excited to be part of Greg's journey in the NFL. And I know you guys look for character, but how nice is it to hear that about a veteran guy when he's talking about a rookie?
Yeah, I mean that's Troy Hill. I think that's part of the reason he's here is those leadership abilities, and he's been through a lot in his life, and I think he's looking forward to mentoring guys and where he is. Not shocked you asked a question about a Northwestern Wildcat. That was easy.
The extra work that Baker and Odell are doing in between drills and all that, is it overstating it that that's part of getting them reconnected?
Well, I think when you're talking about the pass game in general, Tony, it's about precision, and it's about the being accurate when you throw the ball, getting the right depth, running the right route, quarterback getting a feel for how a receiver runs a route, because all the guys are different. So I think there's great value in the work those guys are getting. It's scripted. The coaches know exactly what throws they want to get and in what order. So those two, that battery's gotten a ton of great reps over there.
Go ahead, Tom.
When does he rejoin?
Yeah, well,
11th.
Well, appropriately, is the plan. And we're just taking in all the advice of the medical team and Odell himself and just making sure that we do this the right way.
You guys get a ton of questions about your two defensive ends, Jadeveon and Miles, and how good they've been in camp. Just kind of flipping it around a little bit. Jack Conklin was talking about earlier how hard it is going up against those two guys on a daily basis. What have you seen from both Jack and Jen and how they have handled that avalanche of pressure that they're getting, and how much better is that going to make those two players in the regular season?
Yeah, those guys are getting honest day's work, and I think that's a great testament to how you can practice out here, push each other, compete, and try and make each other better. So Jed and Jack, like you mentioned, get really good work versus different styles. I mean, Miles and Jadeveon are different in how they rush, but certainly the effort's there, and they're going full speed all the time. So it's only going to make both sides better.
When we talked to Coach Kiff about Andrew Billings, he said he's the strongest guy he's ever seen. But what else does Andrew do well?
Yeah, he's a big man. He's moving people in the run game. Can defeat double teams. He's got a great motor. He goes sideline to sideline, and it's a big man running. But he brings he's not the loudest guy, but he brings a understated toughness to that group.
And when a guy he took opted out because of asthma, but is there any no problem accepting him back? And I think Drew Forbes too.
No, none at all. And they were up front with us last year. We were up front with them. Stayed in communication with them. So no, that nothing lasting from that at all.
Kevin, do you regard Billings as strictly a run-down player?
I don't think so, Tony. I think all the rotations need to be played out, and we'll see how that goes. But certainly, when you're talking about his strength, in there at the nose position, whether he's playing a shade or a 2-eye, I mean, he brings power to the game, and that can show up certainly in the pass game to push the pocket.
I'm going to stay in the Big Ten, but switch to Ohio State.
Good.
What stood out about Tommy Togiai so far?
Yeah, I really like what Tommy's been doing. He going all the way back when he first showed up here on campus, just in the meeting room, in the weight room, on the field, does everything that's asked of him, does it the right way, I see him getting better with some of the technique work that he's getting with Coach Kiff and Coach Garrett out there. So I think Tommy's really putting in the work, and I'm seeing it show up.
And when we talk about Billings being one of the strongest guys, Tommy has that bench press.
Yeah.
Do you see that translate to the field?
Definitely, and you see it when the pads are on and those guys come off the ball and can extend their arms versus the offensive lineman. You can definitely see that power.
Do you have to guard against guys trying to be so macho in the weight room, Kevin, that they, try to outlift? I mean, because some guys have pec injuries lifting. Do you have to guard against?
I think our strength coaches are smart about those type of things, Jeff. I think they work with everybody at the level that they're capable of, and we work hard in there. That talking about you want to be bigger, faster, stronger. A lot of that shows up in the weight room. So we want to work hard in there, but we're making sure that we're being smart.
What's more indicative of strength, the bench press or the power lift?
I am the wrong person to answer that, Tony. I'll get you one of the strength coaches. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I'm sorry if you've been asked this a bunch, but how do you make so 2020 wasn't a one-off and you guys are consistently in that position going forward?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it with the team before. Obviously, we've talked about it in this setting, but every year stands on its own merit, and you have to show up every day to compete, and that's kind of where our focus is.
Coach, we talked about the talent you have on the offensive line and how good it is to see them return, but we also have heard you praise Coach Callahan for what he's been able to do and develop that offensive line. What does year 2 look like with him, and what's the work that he's doing out here with these guys heading into this?
Yeah, work's a good word for Coach Callahan and those guys. They're constantly working, and I think Scott Peters, our assistant offensive line coach, I'd include him in that group too. Those guys really. Every period, if you watch, we may be in special teams, they're over there working on something. And I think that's just a great message to the veterans, to the young guys, that you have to work on your craft. And I think we have 2 experts in that area to work with those guys. We've got John DeCosta over there as well. So I see a lot of technique going on. I mean, I've seen Coach Callahan on his hands and knees getting the guys 3-point stance how he wants it. So they're certainly learning from some coaches I think have a ton to give them.
How much? Go ahead. Sorry. Do you think it's a good precedent for them to think that he's a tough coach and to be almost intimidated by the way that he's able to approach them and teach them?
Yeah, I think Coach Callahan has a way about him. That's how he's been coaching for years. I've heard the stories going way back to his college days. He coaches them hard, and he's fair, and I think the guys respect that.
How do you see Chris Hubbard coming along, and do you appreciate how he's handling this journey? I mean, I'm sure it's a difficult one.
Yeah, Hub's doing a nice job. He's, I think, physically he's doing really well, and then he's kind of picked up where he left off. I think in drills and on the field, he really looks like he's looking like Hub to me, which is a testament to the hard work he's put in to get to this point.
I would expect you to have the kickers kick into the dog pound tomorrow.
If you want us to, we will, Tony. Yeah, I'll talk to Coach Preef. Yeah, good idea.
Is that on the plan?
Yes.
On the agenda?
Yeah.
Live?
You have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see, Tony.
Rush
It's gonna be. It'll be worth the price of admission.
Kevin, do you have tack back yet?
We won't have tack back yet today.
Do you have an expectation of when it'll come back?
I really don't.
Wanted to ask you one more general question about Baker. The next step for him is what, and how do you feel like he's coming along in that regard?
Yeah, I think it's year 2 in the system for Baker, so it's fine tuning all the things that we've been building upon, going back to last year, and that's true of really all of our returning guys is building off what you did last year and some of the hard work that you put in, and then as you get into year 2, 3, 4, the nuance of all these things starts to become even clearer.
Is Baker letting you in the quarterback RV back there?
No, didn't get an invite to that either.
One more quick thing about Hubbard. What do you admire most about him as a person?
Great teammate. I think you can judge a lot about a player out here on the field and how they treat their teammates, and I think he's always supportive, constantly around the guys, offering any help. So I think he's just outstanding in that regard.
Hey, go ahead. I read that this is Coach Callahan's 43rd training camp. What's it take as a coach to have the mindset, the ability to come back here year after year and, like you said, get on your hands and knees and coach up?
Yeah, Coach likes the grind. I mean, he likes the coaching. He likes putting the game plans together. he's somebody that's in the fray. So he does a great job. For us, his office is right next to mine, so he's a huge resource to me. With him being a former head coach, and just he's seen so much. So I just think the guy's outstanding.
What training camp number is this for you? Not to put you on the spot, but like ballpark.
Yeah, was not a math major, so someone's gonna have to figure that out.
Do you even know what day of training camp is?
I don't. Yeah, yeah. I get reminded sometimes the day of the week. Yeah, if you say so. Yeah.
And did you have any, you ever worked with Callahan before?
No, I had not worked with Coach Callahan before, but Brad Childress had worked with Coach Callahan back, I believe, at the University of Illinois. So there was a connection there.
He's got to have the most booming voice among your staff, right? I mean, you can hear him anywhere on the field.
He's pretty good. Drew Petzing when he's in his meetings, he's an auctioneer. We can hear him through the walls.
What about Preefer?
Preef can really, Preef's got a good, he can get up there on the octaves.
Hey, Kevin, to clarify, because yesterday you said Tech's expected back.
Yes.
So is this something where you think he'll be back and ready for the season?
I just don't have a time frame yet, but that's really, I can't really get too far into it.
Okay. Not even for the beginning of the season?
I'm hopeful, but don't have a time frame.